Well, hello there, beautiful. It's Kylie Patchett here. Welcome to the Wild and Finally Pecking Free podcast. I deeply believe that the years during and beyond perimenopause are a rite of passage. All of a sudden, we find ourselves on the precipice of a life transition where our brain literally rewires and runs out of fucks to give. We find ourselves shifting identity, no longer caring what other people think, and being invited to expand into new ways of being. Here, we share the real and raw stories from women who've been through deep midlife metamorphosis, taken a leap of faith, or broken the ties that bind us in patterns of staying small, stuck, and like our needs just don't matter. This is the midlife medicine you didn't even know you needed. Stories full of joy, despair, freedom, courage, and deep self-honoring. I am so glad you found us. Welcome. Hello, beautiful ones. Kylie here. Welcome to another solo app. Starting to think of these as high quality questions episodes because I really, really believe that self-development, self-evolution, self-expansion is not going to come from playing on the surface or playing safe. It comes from deep diving, and one of the easiest ways of deep diving is just asking ourselves high quality questions. If we're looking for answers and we're playing on the surface, you ain't going to find them. But if you start asking yourself the sticky, high quality questions, the more and more you get clear on what you will and won't tolerate and what you will and won't desire for yourself. So I've got a bit of a concept I want to talk to you about today. And one of the things that is becoming really, really clear for me is just how much, now I've always known this, but there's a next level of depth of understanding, is that our current reality is the result of all of the emotions that we've felt, which is then dictated thought patterns. And if we do it often enough, thought patterns which become behaviors. And if we do it enough, behaviors that become habits. We do it for often enough, the habit becomes just the bubble we live into, right? And the habits and the conditions and the ruts in our mind become a bubble that we live inside of. And we're not even aware that the bubble is there. It's like we're all living in our own little snow globe. And here's the real truth. If we continue to believe the cycle of feelings, thoughts and stories, behaviors and habits, if we continue to do them on rinse and repeat, we are only ever going to be able to experience what we already have. So if you feel into your life right now and it's not feeling the way that you want to, the beautiful clarifying understanding that we're all invited to have is that we've created the reality that we currently live in by the pattern of thoughts, feelings, emotions, behaviors, and habits that we've had before. Let's cast our minds back 12 months ago. And we either make conscious decisions or we're just running on unconscious automatic pilot because our lives are, I don't know, the surface excuses are so busy, so full, so much time at work, so much expectation to take care of other people, blah, 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 whatever our surface excuse is. But the reality is that whatever we were deciding and choosing for ourselves 12 months ago has created, and, I'm using 12 months as an arbitrary figure, but it's created the reality that you're in right now. Now, I have had clients before that have argued with me about that. It's like, no, I have no choice. I'm like, oh, no, you always have a choice. And I will argue until I am blue in the face that is the case 100% of the time. Now, please let me very clearly say that I am not saying that people who find themselves in, for instance, with a cancer diagnosis or anything, fill in the blank now, have consciously called that in and created that for themselves. There's no blame game here. All I'm saying is that the patterns of behavior that we have consequences. And the patterns of behavior that we have consequences whether we think they do or not. So we're always choosing and we're always creating our reality. So why am I so passionate about women understanding their stories? I had this moment of clarity when I was writing some copy the other day for my podcast page, interestingly. And I had this moment of clarity of like, I've always been obsessed with stories. And I've always been obsessed with what makes us tick. And what makes us tick, from the very, very beginning of my professional life, that's why I love biology, because I love understanding the systems and the processes and the cascades and the hormones and the everything that happens in the body that actually keeps us going. Like the beauty and the balance and the miracle that we are just being humans. And then that expands out into my appreciation for the universe. But, we won't go too much into detail. But yeah, what makes us tick then extended to the curiosity around, I wonder why we do the things we do. And then I became, a bit obsessed with all things, neurology, neuroscience, patterns of behavior, psychology, conditioned behavior, et cetera, et cetera. And that has extended out to, I love understanding where people come from. I want to know what they've experienced. And I often think, like, when you meet someone, the question we ask in our society is, oh, yeah, so what do you do for work? And I'm like, I don't give a fig what you do for work. I want to know what brings you to your knees in your deepest, darkest moments, and what you've climbed out of, and what lights you the fuck up when you allow yourself to dream, and the things that worry you at 2:00 in the morning, and the stories you have about the reality you're creating for yourself, even if you're not consciously aware of it, the stories that you heard as a kid, the stories about what role you have to play, how good you're allowed to feel, how much you can receive, what your capacity for good stuff, in inverted commas, in the world is. And it's this obsession with stories that leads me to the questions that I'm always asking clients and myself. So I really believe that when we believe the stories that we're told, and particularly the stories we learn as kids, when our primary need is survival, love, and approval, when we listen to the fears that try and keep us safe, when we believe that we need to wait for something external to be just a particular way to be happy, or to feel enough, or to feel worthy, we steal away our choice and our power and our control over our own lives. And that's actually being the opposite of wild and free, right? This is why I consciously called this podcast Wild and Finally Fucking Free, because I'm like, I personally desire freedom higher than anything else. And to me, freedom from fear and freedom from conditioning, actually, you know what? That's a ridiculous thing to say. We're never going to be free from fear. Fear is a very healthy evolutionary impulse or evolutionary mechanism to keep us safe. It's just that we've learnt to be afraid of things that really will actually lead to our expansion. And that, there's a whole story behind that about how our belief systems are laid down generally before we're 7. So if we're believing the stories, we're believing the fears, we're believing we have to wait for something external, we're the opposite of being wild and free. We're conditioned, we're tamed, we're trapped in a box of our own making. How hilarious is that? I want to get out of the box. I want to be free. Hang on, I made the box. Ah, shit. It is the most exhilarating and terrifying thing to discover the real truth that we are the deciders and the creators. And so I come back to the thread that I laid down before, which is we've created exactly what our life is like right now by thoughts, feelings, behaviors, habits that we've done before. And whether we're consciously aware of choosing or not, we're choosing to stay in the same cycle. So every single thing in our lives right now, we're an energetic match to. So the amount of love in your life right now, that's where your energetic match is sitting. The amount of money that's flowing into your life, same thing. The amount of support you're allowing yourself to have, same thing. The amount of fun, the amount of play, the amount of pleasure in your life, that is what you're sitting energetically matched to. So our current combination of thoughts, beliefs, and habits that we've created, and the stories, emotions, and feelings which set in motion those thoughts, beliefs, and habits, is what we have been up until this point. And I really want you to hear that sentence. Up until this point, that has dictated what we are and are not available for. Now, like I said before, I've had people argue with me until they're blue in the face that they haven't chosen their reality. But we have. So what makes us limit our ability to receive or create? What ends up with us with lives that feel, I always think about the stuck, small, exhausted, unmotivated. They're the most common words that women will say to me. Sometimes it's not even that strong. Sometimes it's just, I've got this sense that there's got to be something more. Like I've just got an inkling. It's nothing solid I can hold on to. And, the thing is that when I say to someone, well, how do you want to feel day to day? How do you want to feel day to day? How do you actually want to feel when you wake up in the morning? How do you actually want to feel when you lay your head back on the pillow? How do you want to feel in your relationships? How do you want to feel when you open your bank app on your phone? How do you want to feel when you're sitting with your kids? How do you want to feel when you're sitting with yourself? Far out. That's the hardest. That's the most delicious evolution edge, right? How do you want to feel when you sit with your hand on your heart and say, hello, sweetheart? How are you today? Hey gorgeous, we interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent, my sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you'll get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old learned limitation patterns, keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real-time, high-touch, one-on-one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliepatchett.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because By that time, I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode. Me, I want to feel deeply content. I want to feel deliciously calm. I want to feel powerful, trusting, faithful, grounded. I want to feel very clearly like I have magic inside of me. And I want to experience ease and flow every freaking day. Get clear with how you want to feel. And then my secondary question is, what do you have underneath the surface that says you cannot possibly have that? Why not? Why can't you have it? If we're an energetic match to whatever's in our life at the moment, it stands to reason that if we change the way that we see ourselves and the way that we choose to believe that life has to feel, then we can change what we're an energetic match to and invite something different. And like I said, terrifying, and exhilarating, all at the one time. So I'm going to read you a list of things that I used to think were true. Well, some of a list I used to think were true. And I think, I feel like these are pretty universal. Okay, hang on. I haven't actually got my page open to where I need it to be. My question was, why can I not say yes to myself? Why can I not access freedom, joy, power, groundedness, ease, flow, magnetism, all of those things that I just said to you? And my answer was, I don't believe I can feel that good. It's not okay to put my needs first. My role is to take care of people. That is not how to be a good mother and a good daughter. I need to wait for someone else's permission. I need to over-deliver to be safe and receive support. Now, that's just the top 5 of the list of bullshit that was in my head. Can you see, just by me sharing those things, that there was no way that I would be able to expand into the capacity to have a life that feels good, literally feels good, when I wake up in the morning, when I put my head on the pillow, when I'm having a conversation with my kids, my husband, when I'm choosing joy, when I'm choosing pleasure, when I'm looking out at this beautiful blue sky and just marinating in the fact that it's springtime. But if you are choosing, if I was choosing the stories and the fear that were running the show up until maybe 2 months ago, was I'm not allowed to feel that good. I can't conceive of being able to feel that good. I can't put my needs first. I've got to take care of everybody else. I've got to be a good daughter and a good wife. Sorry, good mother and a good daughter. I've got to be the good girl and the people pleaser. And I need to wait for someone else to give me permission, someone else to say, well, basically to give me love. When I did that exercise, and this is where I come back to the high quality questions, right? When I did that exercise, I looked at that list and I was like, I don't even fucking believe any of that shit. But that's what was underneath the surface. So awareness about what you actually want, and then awareness about what inside of you is not matching that. And that really is a fear dump, a fear list, a fear vomit in your journal, or speak it out loud if it feels better. Like, I'm not a huge journaler, but if you ask me a question and I just like turn my voice note on and blah, 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 if I just let a stream of consciousness come out of my mouth, holy moly, there's some crap beneath the surface. Once you're actually clear with what's blocking you from saying yes to yourself and raising your energy and feeling good each day, then you can actually question the beliefs, right? Is it really true that I'm not allowed to feel that good? Whose story is that? Where did I learn that? Is it ultimately true? And also, here's the kicker. See, I think I said in another episode, like, I've done a lot of study and mastering of different mindset techniques, different ways of unhooking trauma responses and triggers, different ways of scratching up the patterns in your mind. And there is definitely a place for that. But in my humble opinion and my personal experience right now, something that has been even more powerful for me is just to write down the fear that's underneath the surface and then go, really? What the fuck? And also taking my place at the head of the table of my life, claiming my power and standing in my power. I'm deciding that that's not true for me. And, anchoring those new beliefs into your system, like I've done something, I did a vision kind of writing exercise one day. And again, I was like, yeah, it feels like I'm still playing safe. I was talking about things like, I release my need to have a job. Money flows easily to me by me just being me, just offering my gift to the world. Business gets to be easy. We're always on the bike having adventures. We travel a lot. And there was a level of rightness and trueness to that. And it is all very true and very right. That's what I'm living into. But I realized there was even more depth. And the depth for me came from I choose. I choose and I decide that my life gets better and better and better. I choose to play it powerful and not safe. I choose to invest in myself because I know when I invest in myself, when I put myself in environments of expansion, then I have no risk of snapping back into contraction, back to the small version of myself. So I choose a belief that when I invest in my time and my energy, when I take care of my needs, I expand and I evolve and things get easier. I've got these written all over my wall. This is, it's not just coming as a stream of consciousness. One big thing, I forgive myself for all my past mistakes. We hold ourselves in patterns of smallness by making ourselves wrong for shit that we didn't actually know any better about when we did it. Like, is that not the most self-sabotaging strategy in the entire world? I choose to forgive myself for all my past mistakes. I choose to not let myself believe that my past limits my future because I can change my energy and my beliefs and my clarity of choice in this moment. I can choose to let go of heaviness. The more space I create, the more calm I feel. This is one of my favorites at the moment. The more space I create to take care of myself, the more calm I feel. The more calm I feel, the more ease and flow I experience. The more ease and flow I experience, the more easily I receive on all levels. Why create a life where you have to work hard to feel like you can earn whatever it is that you're looking for? And that could be love, support, connection, fun, happiness. Why do that? Why choose that reality for yourself? Why not choose that the more you take care of yourself, the more life gets easier and easier? Everything is energy. How does your body feel when I read that? Does it feel light and expansive, or does it feel like, oh, that's heavy, that's yuck, that's a yuck place to live from? Look at the list of fears that is underneath why you can't say yes to yourself, why you can't actually create what you want. And look at the list. It's heavy, it's sticky, it's yucky, it's old energy, conditioned energy, other people's stories, other people's projections of what it is to be okay in the world. Here's one big one that I've actually chosen for myself. I choose to be clear with my vision. I choose to commit time and energy to co-creating my vision. I choose to believe taking care of myself draws my vision closer, quicker. Is that not a much more fluid, fun, light belief to choose for yourself? Ultimately, you choose. Now, you may have all sorts of things fighting with you at the moment. You might be listening to me and going, it's all right for her, but it's all right for her because. Don't fucking fool yourself. I am a normal, ordinary human being who is consciously creating because I believe I am the creator and the decider in my life. And you fucking well can be too. You are not powerless. You are not, life is not being done to you. You are not a victim. No matter what your circumstances are, and no matter how shitty and heavy and trauma-fueled your past may be, you can choose something different for yourself. And I'm saying that from the space of someone who's worked with people that have gone through some really fucking heavy shit, really hard, really awful, damaging, traumatic stuff. And I don't care what it is, you can heal it and you can free yourself. And you know what? One of the key things about freeing yourself is actually speaking it, being seen, being heard, telling your story, sharing your story. There is so much power and resilience and grunt and grit inside all of us. And yet some of us are still choosing that we're tiny and we're timid and we're safe. And I'm like, that's fine, but tiny, timid, and safe ain't going to get you what you want. And I'm not saying that this has to happen overnight. I'm not saying that you go from broken in the back of your car to being a millionaire just because you change your thought and then tomorrow you're, in a mansion. Not at all. Not at all. And it takes commitment, it takes time, it takes putting yourself in environments where you are passively manipulating yourself to expand. And you need to be, and this is my invitation to you, bloody vigilant about the stories that you're telling yourself that are keeping you where you don't want to be. I feel like I'm going on a bit of a rant right now, so we'll bring it back, won't we? Okay, I just want to talk about one other thing in terms of looking outside of yourself. So if one of the reasons that you cannot say yes to yourself right now is that you're waiting for permission from someone else, or you're waiting for someone in your life to give you love and support, and I'm talking to the people who, similar to me, have had childhoods with parents that have not been available for them. And again, this is a caveat with all parents are doing the best thing that they can with what they've got. There's no blame or, there's no blame. There's no blame. And at the same time, if you have got someone in your life that has done you harm, particularly if it's a parent, particularly if it's before the age of 7, or it doesn't have to be a parent, a caregiver before the age of 7, where we're laying down what we believe is available to us from a love and support and care point of view, you can choose to lay that down, and you can choose to release the need for that person to be anything different to what they were. And I want to explain that a little bit. So I have always felt very resistant to forgiveness of a particular person. And because for a long time, I've held a lot of anger and resentment and indignation, and if I'm honest, rage. And I'm using that word very consciously, rage at that person not being who I needed them to be when I was a little kid. But it's taken me a long time, 47 and a half freaking years, to realize that I still have the power to actually allow my heart to open to the fact that I release the need for this person to be anyone but they are. I release the need for that person to be anyone but they are, because holding on to waiting for someone in your life to love and support you and to magically change how they are is always putting the power of you feeling good in someone else's hands. And there ain't no fucking power in that. There is no freedom in waiting for someone else to gift you something. And yes, I'm not saying don't feel the rage, don't feel the anger, don't feel the indignation, because we're humans, we have human emotions. And when your needs aren't met and your boundaries are crossed, it's very, very normal to feel angry and full of rage. So I'm not saying don't feel the feelings, but I am saying if you feel that you can't allow yourself to feel good because you're waiting for someone else to give you something, you may go to your grave still waiting. And honey, your light and your love and your capacity to have a beautiful life cannot be attached to someone else giving you permission. And that goes for anyone. If you're waiting for your husband, your partner, your lover, your kids, your friends, your parents to say you're okay in the world and that you're worthy and you deserve something, it makes me incredibly sad, because there's so many women in the world that are waiting for that, and you may never get it. So what's the opposite? You decide, and it takes time, trust me, and I've literally only got to this point this morning in a forgiveness exercise that was led by a mentor that I'm working with, where you shift towards or open up to the possibility that you can actually choose to not need that from someone else. And the flip side of that, and the beautiful, heartwarming, gorgeous thing about deciding you don't need it from someone else, is that you can give yourself that. And I write about this all the time. I'm sure you've seen me write posts about you can choose to love yourself, to nurture yourself. And if you do have a childhood that, that you weren't seen or heard, or if you were even, neglected, abused, anything that is not how we would choose our little people to be taken care of, we would never choose it for anyone. But we also can't change the reality, right? We can change what we make meaning of it. And my new meaning for my childhood and many times that I felt unsafe and that my needs weren't met is I can choose. I can choose to cry and feel the rage and box and lift fucking weights that are really heavy and challenging, because I need to release the heaviness and the stuckness and the rage out of my system. I can choose to give myself the ability to nap and have hot baths and go walking and lie on the ground and hug a tree. I can choose to rock myself. I can choose to tap. I can choose to breathe into my heart. I can choose to go back in time and gift the little person version of me all the wisdom and all the love and all the care that the 47-year-old me has learnt. And I can nurture and I can reparent. And you can choose it for yourself too. Wow, I didn't know this is where this episode was going to go. But anyway, trusting the unfolding. So, if your answer to the question, can't I say yes to myself? Or why can you not say yes to yourself? That's the quality question. And if it's because you don't feel like you can feel that good, or it's not okay to put your needs first, or that's not the role you play, or you're waiting for approval or love from someone outside of you, you're still choosing those things, whether you are conscious of it or not. My reflection back to you is the first step of change ever is awareness of what is actually going on right now. And I guess the second invitation from me to you is, when those fears come up, that's all head stuff. It's all your brain trying to keep you safe. And the funny thing about being safe is that safety in our minds equals what we used to. And even if that is very dysfunctional and not satisfying our needs, we will still seek to recreate the perception of safety because that's what we know. And again, there is very simple, easy ways of recreating a sense of safety in your body that doesn't depend on chaos and being in survival mode and constantly being hypervigilant to someone else's, needs, wants, and desires. So where to next? If this episode is tugging at something inside of you, I really, really, really implore you to listen to that inner compass. And I really, 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 really encourage you to be honest with yourself about why you can't say yes to yourself. Why can you not let yourself have fun? Why can you not choose lightheartedness and power and grounded and ease and flow? Why can you not commit time and energy to your own needs? And then I guess this is another solo episode because I've already yacked on for 33 minutes. But my other question to you is, at what cost? At what cost? What is saying no to yourself day in, day out, or not saying yes to yourself day in, day out costing you? And not only costing you, costing your family, your friendships, your community, your workplace, ultimately the world. What is not saying yes to your true needs, wants, and desires, and not giving yourself permission to feel good actually costing the rest of us? I have this had this moment when I was having a human design reading with Sarah Wilder, and I've talked about that before in her episode and also my first episode. And she was talking about something called the Radiance Gate, and I'm a human design, like it's like human design for dummies. That's where I'm at, right? But she's talking about this Radiance Gate, and I have the Gate 33 in there, and Gate 33 is, I hope I'm getting this right, something called the Medicine Woman, and it's about sharing stories to heal. And I'm like, wow, that's funny because I'm thinking about doing a podcast, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, one of the things that freaked me out inside of that reading is that there is a picture on the Gene Keys website of Gate 33, and it's got this beautiful picture of a globe, and it's got this sort of matrix of purple and blue. Like imagine a web around the world, basically. And I actually don't know whether I'm talking about the right gate. It's either the grid worker or the medicine woman. But anyway, either one of those. The thing that freaked me out or just gave me goosebumps and made me know that this path was the right one to take or continue down, gave me that universal wink, was that I have been saying since my very first iteration of business, when you give yourself permission to create a life that feels good and deliver your gifts to the world, we all win. And when you choose to say no to yourself and believe the fear and stay small and not shine your light, it is at a cost to us, because I believe every single one of us, before we came down to this earth, chose a purpose, and collectively we're meant to be delivering it to each other. And one of the ways that I've always pictured that in my head is this big lattice that's all knitted together. Oh, and it's an energetic lattice or a matrix. It's always been blue and purple in my mind, and it's always been, if you don't step up, there's a hole in the matrix. And then when I had this reading with Sarah, the blinking picture was literally a world with a matrix of blue and purple threads. And I'm like, holy moly. So the cost to you not saying yes to yourself is not just costing you, it's costing your family, your friends, your community, and the world. And I am particularly talking to you if you have something inside of you that can offer perspective or healing or help or support or grounding, or if you identify as being a healer or helper, but you still have stories that you're not worth delivering that to the world, I am here to say, and I know I swear a lot, but get the fuck over yourself. Get the fuck over yourself. Get out of your own way, because we need your light. More than ever before, we need your light. We need your gift. We need your energy. We need you beaming out that thing inside of you to the world. And when you choose to stay small, we all miss out. So this is not just about you. It's not just about you. It's about what you can deliver. Okay, that's my soapbox. Okay, coming back to the points of what I wanted to deliver to you. Saying yes to yourself. What is blocking you from doing it? So last week I recorded the episode about how am I abandoning myself, and you became aware of some of the ways that you're not saying yes to yourself. And so the next question, which we're asking today, is why can't you say yes to yourself? Okay, I have an invitation for you, and this is something that, when I talk to you about stealing your gifts from the world, I'm talking to the Kylie of, 10 months ago that when she got the nudge to come back to coaching just went, oh, hell no, tell me something else. I'm not doing that. It's too scary. I failed the first time. Maybe I can't coach anymore. Maybe I don't have any wisdom inside of me to share. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Maybe because I've gone through my trials and tribulations as a woman, I don't have the right to help anyone else through theirs. What a load of bullshit. So the things that I deeply know about myself is that I am really, really, really good at pulling stories out of your head. And I'm really, really, really good at seeing and hearing your story, and also feeling between the lines, seeing where you're getting in your way and helping you heal that shit. I actually had an idea, only the beginning of last week. So it's like 10 days old, this idea about doing a 3-day masterclass. And I'm like, 3 days? That's a long time. How am I going to feel 3 days? Anyway, turns out quite easily, because I've just done the planning for it and I'm like, holy shit balls. Okay. So I want to invite you to step into an arena completely free for 3 days with me. Now, when I say a masterclass, I don't even know what to call it. This is not me with some slides talking at you. This is me with a deep desire that dropped into my heart to actually get together as a community to actually do some serious fucking work on who you are, what you want, connecting to your heart, and delivering your gift to the world. So we will meet for 3 evenings, 7:00 Brisbane time, 15th, 16th, and 17th of November. I'll put the link below this. Actually, you know what? Now the podcast has a new page. So all you need to do to join me for the Coming Home Masterclass is go to kyliepatchett.com.au and actually register. How easy is that? That's so cool. So the reason we're doing 3 days is because I want actually this to be an immersive experience. So this is not just, come, listen for a bit, check out, stay on your phone, doodle around. This is bring your yoga mat, bring a blanket, bring a pillow, dress comfy, bring your snacks, bring your cup of tea or whatever it is that you'll be nourishing yourself with. And for an hour and 15 minutes, maybe even an hour and a half each night, we are going to go through a 3-step journey of setting you wild and finally fucking free. So the invitation to come to this is very much about me wanting to have the ability to interact with you, and you will be asked to interact. So if you're not a sharer, that's cool. You don't have to say anything that you don't want to. But I will say again and again, being seen and heard and witnessed in what you want and what's keeping you stuck is the most powerful place you can put yourself for expansion. So if you are feeling like your life does not fit, if you're feeling like you're getting in your own way, if you're feeling like that beautiful client who is actually feeling holy shit at saying uncovering myself and my dreams, needs, and wants loud and proud, and that feels like, ooh, edgy in your body. And if you know that you've got a lot of stories around lack, not saying yes to yourself, not deserving, having to put everyone else's needs first, blah, 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 and you want to feel different. So don't come if you're happy where you are. Like, honestly, don't come if you are ready to just settle for a life that feels okay, where your needs are not being met, but you don't really think you deserve any better. That's cool. Blessings and releasing, because you ain't part of what I'm part of in the world, in terms of I'm here to invite you to expand. And I'm here to invite you to anchor whatever the fuck you want to day to day. So if it's, I'll go back to my list: powerful, vital, ease and flow, magnetism, lit up, rested. Oh, isn't that edgy? Comfortable in my skin, peaceful. If you want to feel light, vital, like you are ready to step up and shine and you're free from the stories that say you can't, then I'm really, really excited to invite you to the Coming Home Masterclass. We will go through a 3-day process. I'll tell you very quickly what we will go through. What I will say is that even if you can't, it would be absolutely beautiful if you could join us live, because the more live story sharing and aha moment sharing, the more powerful it is as a collective. And, women coming together in circle is one of the most freaking magical things that you could ever be in, to invite yourself to expand and step up. What we will be doing will include asking big questions, journaling, yoga, meditation, and breath work. So all of the things that I actually use in one-on-one coaching with clients, using the mind, the body, and the breath to release stories, clear fear, connect with your heart, go deep. So day 1 will be dropping out of your head and into your heart, getting clear with what you really want, stopping living from the head up and in a fear state. Day 2, we will look at what you want and then look at all the shitty stories that say you can't have them. And then I'll actually be giving you a really simple fear clearing and state shifting process that I've been using for years. It's so simple and so powerful. And it's magical. If you can commit to doing this even once or twice a week, you will change your reality. Getting clear with what your current reality is and why, and clearing those stories, and making sure you're in an environment that's supporting you in that expansion, because this is big work, right? And trying to do it solo is one way of doing it, and then doing it in community and as a collective is really powerful. And then day 3, once we've cleared out the shit, we will be expanding into your evolution. So how do you embody being a woman that has a life that feels that good? How do you continually choose to face the fears and decide your new reality? Oh, goosebump territory. Exciting. Okay. So you'll find all the information at kyliepatchett.com.au. Even if you can't make it live, there will be replays available. But like I said, the live experience is going to be incredibly powerful. I will be sharing an invitation at the end of, I was going to say the end of the masterclass, but no, I'm going to be opening up day 1 to something very, very special that I've had drop into my heart, which is called the Coming Home Collective. And it is about a community and connection and an environment that supports your expansion. It will be at a crazy affordable price point. So this is not about ridiculously overpriced, high ticket, freaking blah, blah, blah that the coaching industry says. This is actually about creating a community and collective of women expanding. So be there. If you're registered for the masterclass, you will get a very, very special deal to work with me one-on-one for free. Oh, that feels very, very juicy for me. And thank you, as always, for listening in. Thank you for gifting me your time and attention, but more importantly, thank you for saying yes to your own expansion. Because if you're listening to this podcast, that's what you're seeking. You're seeking wild and finally fucking free. You're seeking high quality questions, and you're seeking an invitation to expand. So thank you. I love you. Until next time. Goodbye. Hello there, beautiful. Kylie here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. I have some great news for you. I have a podcast home now. So you'll find everything about our new episodes, key takeaways, and events coming up at www.kyliepatchett.com.au. Patchett is Patchett. Now, one of the things that I'm noticing in all of these stories is that there's common threads about being able to access our deepest truth in times of midlife metamorphosis. These threads include healing stories about self-abandonment, trauma, leaky boundaries, childhood conditioning, learning to dissolve fear and self-doubt and not enoughness, and making other people's needs more important than our own. And finally, learning how to nourish ourselves. So actually understanding how to connect to our heart and understand what it is that we want from our life. How do we want to feel? Who do we want to be in relationship with? Who is better off actually being outside of our boundaries these days? Ultimately, this journey through midlife metamorphosis is all about coming home to our magic and our power and our magnificence and our dreams and desires. And that is why I'm super excited to share with you that we have a 3-day Midlife Magic Masterclass series coming. It's called Coming Home, and it's across the 3 evenings because holy moly, when I started pouring this out of my soul, there was so much that I couldn't possibly cover it in one night. My plan is to have it super, super interactive. So it's not just going to be slides and me talking over them. Boring. It's actually going to be me asking you questions, having you do journal prompts, settling into your heart. We'll be doing some breath and some yoga, and we'll be using those tools to really get clear on what it is that you want, how you're actually getting in your own way, and setting you free to freaking create it. I've got 33 seats that are free. About half of them are taken already, so about 15 more seats to go. And you will find the registration page now at my new online home, which is kyliepatchett.com.au. Love to see you there. It's going to be absolutely groundbreaking, and yeah, for usually in a coaching session, even a group coaching session with me for 4.5 hours, that's a lot of cash. And this time I just want to open up our community and interact with you in real time, because your response to this podcast has been breathtaking. And I'm so pleased that these stories are resonating. And I know deep in my soul, the reason they're resonating is because you see yourself in all of these other amazing women. So just know that if they can overcome fear, if they can heal old conditioning, if they can learn to connect with their own needs, you can too. Join me for Coming Home, November 15th to 17th. If you can't make it live, that's totally fine, although it's going to be way better if you can. If you can't make it live, we will be putting replays out each day, and I can't wait to see you there. So yeah, kyliepatchett.com.au. Yay! Have a great day, everyone. Bye.